know who needs to hear this, but I don't care that you're a Black-owned business.
Well, you have my attention.
I'm not a looter, so it's irrelevant info.
So there's something interesting about the use of the word looters here. This term has often and almost exclusively been used to describe Black folk who are engaging in alleged criminal activity. The use of this term as a racist dog whistle was popularized on a national level by Miami Chief of Police Walter Headley when he coined the phrase, "When the looting starts, the shooting starts," to describe what he considered to be undesirable behavior from the local Black community. In this case, that behavior was civil rights protesting. And some of y'all may recall that we had that one president, I forget his name, but he's that one who's facing felony charges right now. He was also fond of this particular dog whistle. And as the rhetorical scholars Michael Lacey and Kathleen Haspel point out in the first chapter of the book Critical Rhetorics of Race, this is actually a pretty common use of the term in most mainstream media.
I also don't care that you're a woman-owned business or a Latinx-owned business, which doesn't exist. I don't care.
Latinx-owned business? What the hell's a Latinx? Oh, she means Latinx. But she says they don't exist. Does she not know that all words are made up?
As a consumer, the only thing I care about is whether or not your business provides a superior product or service at a fair price. That's it. So focus on that instead of attempting to mooch points off your perceived identity. The only own that I would ever pay attention to would be veteran. And even then, I am not going to waste money at a subpar business just because it's veteran owned.
And that is a really interesting phrase. I'm not going to waste money on a subpar business just because it's veteran owned. This encapsulates this ideology of consumer capitalism over community investment, and it is an ideology that is killing our communities. Because the implication here is that as a matter of principle, this person would rather give their money to a faceless corporation that produces a product of consistent quality than, say, a locally owned business that produces a product that is of maybe a lower quality than the faceless corporations. And a major consequence of this is that money leaves the community, the local businesses close down, and the local economy tanks as a result.
But the difference here is I owe veterans a debt I can't repay, that they're not looking to me to repay. But they have already provided myself and every American with a great service, so would I be more likely to take my business there? Sure, but it's still got to be good.
So veterans are owed a debt that they're not looking for someone to repay, but they are the preferred choice for businesses unless they can't compete with another business that has more resources. This feels a lot like thanking veterans for their service, but refusing to fund the VA.
Now, I don't owe Black Americans or women or Latinx people who don't exist anything. Nobody owes you their business, even if you're a veteran. So compete at business.
I'm going to skip past observations about the billions, if not trillions, of dollars generated in underpaid or unpaid labor by marginalized communities that was instrumental in the creation and maintenance of American society, because I'm still kind of caught up on this idea of arguing with a community that allegedly doesn't exist.
But when we slap these labels on things, Black-owned, woman-owned, that tells me nothing about you. More to the point, it tells me nothing about your business, your product, your service, your mission statement. I would much prefer you say, hey, we donate 1% of our proceeds to Planned Parenthood. That tells me something, to take my business elsewhere. But it tells me something. What does Black-owned tell me? Nothing. I know nothing about you based off the color of your skin, and vice versa. We are so obsessed with these little identities that tell us nothing about each other. Especially Latinx, because it doesn't exist.
One of the things that often gets missed in this conversation about minority-owned businesses is that this is not necessarily a way of marketing to white folks. As many folks of color will tell you, it is not a good idea to count on white guilt for anything, let alone keeping your business open. You see, the use of identity and marketing lets folks know from those communities that if they go to those businesses, their needs are more likely to be met. Like, for example, if I'm looking for a place where I can get tacos de lengua or menudo or good horchata, then I know that I probably need to go to a Latina-owned business. Y'all can keep your arroz con pollo with your white cheese. The last thing that I want to point out is that whether intentionally or not, the cross that this creator is wearing operates as a piece of identity-based marketing for her channel, and that's totally okay. It just seems a little odd given the context. Oh, and while we're at it, if anyone wants to support Chicano-owned social media accounts that produce educational content, they can do so here.